Good morning, everybody. Mark Finan in the Home Weather Office on this 8th day of March 2023. As I'm recording this, the rain is now just ending in my house. The rain has been pretty modest in the valley, but once again, with this cold air around, we've been looking at low snow. We've been seeing snow in Placerville. We've been seeing snowflakes down even to 1,500 feet in many areas. That'll be ending quickly. And once we get past this little wave, this will be the end of the low snow for quite a while. The air mass is about to change. We're going to get into that atmospheric river event, and that'll bring in warmer air, higher snow levels. There are some changes that have been taking place in what we're thinking about that atmospheric river and the impact that it's going to have. So that's what I'm going to show you this morning. And before I go any further, if you like these updates and if you want to be alerted every time I do one of these, just go ahead and hit the subscribe button here on YouTube. So let me show you what's happening right now as I record this just before 9 o'clock. As you can see, the rain is rolling out. We didn't see that much rain around the valley, about 1/10 to 1.5 inches of rain. But this is wetter in the foothills. But even for those that are getting snow right now, all of that will be ending. And what we're going to be seeing is an end to the best part of the rain that we're going to be seeing for now. And the rest of the day is actually going to be dry. I think the afternoon is going to turn out to be a pretty good looking day. So with that in mind, let's look forward to the atmospheric river and see what is going to happen. I'm going to start with a short-term model, the HRRR. And as you can see, the afternoon and the evening tonight are dry. It'll be dry in the Sierra. We should have pretty good travel conditions in the Sierra through the night tonight. One of the changes we've been seeing in the most recent models is a faster onset. So this is 4 o'clock in the morning Thursday. This is Thursday morning around 9, 10 o'clock. We'd been thinking initially that what we were going to see is the biggest impact from this storm on Friday. Now we're shifting that back to Thursday. It's still going to rain Friday, but the biggest impact is going to be Thursday night, and the very early morning hours of Friday. So Thursday, wet day. It's going to start early, and it's going to continue all day. This is late afternoon and into the early evening, and as you can see, widespread rain. Now, the snow level. I got to talk about the snow level. Because while we've been talking about this being a warmer system and the snow level rising, that's very true. But let me back up in time a little bit here, because at the onset of this, we're going to see some snow down at 4,000 feet, maybe 5,000 feet. So if you're, let's say, in Pioneer or Arnold or Pollock Pines, don't be surprised if it starts off as snow and you get a couple of slushy inches of snow before it changes over to rain. But the snow level will go up to around 7,000, 8,000 feet, as you can see here. So that's what's happening here. This is Thursday evening at around 6 o'clock. So the evening commute, it's wet everywhere. It's windy. I'll show you the winds here in just a second. And that continues throughout the overnight. Very windy during the overnight. You can see the isobars here kind of stacked up. The snow level by then is up around 8,000 feet, and we're getting some really good rain. So let me show you the wind that we're going to see. And what I'm going to depict here are the wind gusts. There's a relatively small window where we'll see some very strong winds in a relatively small area too. This is around 4 o'clock on Thursday afternoon, and this area highlighted in this red color here, and as I scroll over it, you can see it comes up at 48 knots, 50 knots, that sort of thing. That would be for Folsom, El Dorado Hills, Roseville, Ione, all of Sacramento County, northern San Joaquin County. And again, it may not last all that long, but we once again have the possibility of some power outages, limbs down, and that sort of thing. Once we get into the day Friday, you'll see the winds die down. Those areas of red pass through our area so that by Friday, the strongest winds will move out of the area. All right, I'm going to change tact a little bit here and change models. We're going to look at the North American model, and this will take us into the weekend so you can see the depiction of the rain through the weekend. So here's that rain Thursday night. Let's take a look at Friday. This is Friday morning. The rain continues, the snow continues at high elevations. Although Friday for the valley, there are going to be some breaks. This is Friday afternoon. For Sacramento and for Marysville and for Stockton, it's not going to rain all day Friday. We're going to see some breaks, but for those in the foothills, Grass Valley and Colfax and Pollock Pines and Pioneer and Jackson, it's going to rain all day. And the snow level will be up around 7,000 feet and it'll be quite windy in the Sierra as well. So this is why what we're going to see is bigger rain totals in the foothills than in the valley. Plus, we have strong orographics going with this as well. So with that, let me show you the rainfall expectation. This is through Saturday afternoon. For the valley, about 1.5 to 2 inches of rain. That's less than what we had been thinking. With that in mind, what we're going to likely see is less impact on the valley floor for flooding. Streams and creeks will come up, but I don't think they're going to be too extreme. So the bottom line here in terms of the valley floor flooding is if you didn't flood in January, you're not going to flood now. So if you're not in an area that's had flooding before, you're not going to have flooding this time, not on the valley floor. But there are some areas we'll have to keep an eye on, and that is on the west slope where, let me go back to that graphic, you'll see that while the valley sees 1.5 to 2 inches of rain, you don't have to go very far up the hill before you're talking about 5, 6, 7 inches of rain. And that's along Highway 49 and up the hill. So there are a lot of streams and creeks. There's, let's say, Wolf Creek in Grass Valley. There's Slate Creek that goes to the town of El Dorado. There are creeks all up and down the foothills. If you live near one of those that is prone to flooding, it's flooded in January, just be mindful that that may also flood this time around. But for the valley floor, the only concerns we'll have will be areas like Deer Creek and the Cosumnes River. With that in mind, let me show you the latest thinking from the River Forecast Center on the Cosumnes River. This is their latest forecast, and as I scroll up here, this right here is where we are right now. Forecast to go to monitor stage by the time we get into the day on Friday. This is Friday, it goes to 7 feet at 2 a.m., and then it goes up here to 13.3 feet, and that is Friday night at 9 o'clock, and then it comes back down. 13.3 feet. Perspective on that. In January 1st, this is at Michigan Bar up by Rancho Murrieta. This was over 16 feet, so this is more than 3 feet lower than it was back in January. However, 13 feet does have a history of putting high water downstream into Wilton about 8 hours later. So that would be first thing Saturday morning. We could see high water around the Cosumnes in Wilton, and another couple of hours later, this would stay under Highway 99, but areas like Bruceville Road, Twin Cities Road could see water on them during the day on Saturday. Not as high as what we saw back in January, but enough that we will see flooded parts of roads, maybe Dillard Road as well. So that's the impact from that one. We will also see a rise on the Tuolumne. Let me show you that. And let me just go to the Tuolumne River here for you, because I also want to point out that this one here, too, is also expected to go to flood stage, 56 feet. And this is as it flows through downtown Modesto. This is a level higher than what we saw back in January because we're also getting releases out of Don Pedro right now. This does put water into some areas there. I think there's a trailer park that's near the river on the south side of the river. We'll have to keep an eye on this. This peak flow is expected on Saturday afternoon. So there's a lot to get through over the next couple of days. So the bottom line is the valley, we're going to see a lot of rain, but I think it's going to be manageable, especially for our area streams and creeks. We'll keep an eye on the Cosumnes, the Tuolumne, inflows into Folsom and Oroville and Don Pedro. And the foothills, those streams and creeks that are prone to flooding in the foothills, keep an eye on those because those are the ones that are prone to flooding. But a widespread flooding event looks very unlikely at this time. And if you've been hearing things about we're going to flood, again, I think it's going to be very localized, probably less chance of flooding in many areas than what we saw back in January. That's what I've got for you so far this morning. I'll be on KCRA at 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, and 11 tonight, and on Facebook Live tonight at 8 o'clock. And again, if you like these updates, go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get a notification every time I do one of these. I'll talk to you later.